Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1.
Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Victory Monday edition of the JP Peterson Show. And we got, oh my Lord, so much to get to. And college football, what's going on with that? Alex Golesh is now the new head coach at Auburn. Oh. Get so many thoughts on all these college coaching situations. Florida State. Florida has hired a new coach. The calendar, Lane Kiffin. Woo! And we got lots to get to with the Bucs yesterday. A W, which is what you needed, but it certainly was not a Rembrandt, to be sure. So we'll get into some of the things that happened yesterday. Some fun stuff as well. We got the Lightning continuing a roll, and just so many storylines to get to. Nick Geddes from On3 Sports joins us here. You're On3, folks. Breaking news all over this weekend in college sports. I cannot remember a weekend where there's been bigger, like, just ridiculous stories and what are going to be historic storylines moving forward. Can you?
I can't either. And it's one of those things where we've had all these sort of like stories building and building and building, and they sort of all just came to a head in about a 6-hour time frame. And sometimes it's like, I don't know if I would prefer, I put it this way. If I'm working and I'm in that like business, I probably would prefer for it to be a little spread out. But if you're just a viewer from the outside, it's like absolute chaos. Oh, and by the way, it was happening during week 13 of the NFL season. And I feel like in a way, the NFL never takes a backseat to anybody.
Never.
Thought yesterday they took a little bit of a backseat to college football. And I probably shouldn't say this because this is a Tampa Bay show and it's a Victory Monday and it's the first Victory Monday in about a month.
Yeah.
I'm like, yesterday I was like, I don't think I'm alone on this. That was a pretty just blah football game at Raymond James Stadium. It was a blah everything. I was more interested in what was going on in college football. I was like, oh, the Bucs won. Cool. You know,
I'm sitting there in the press box and I'm looking at my Twitter feed just going, holy jeez, oh Pete, what the hell's going on? And it's all just breaking down in real time. And this Lane Kiffin saga is, we're going to talk about this in our second half hour. It really is something that I have strong opinions on. And I think it's probably, I think Lane Kiffin is a very easy target, but I think he's the wrong target. And we'll get into all that. And, the emotions that go into college football just fuel all the ridiculousness that is happening in this sport right now. And it doesn't need to be this way. It really doesn't. But greed usually is the driver, and it is in this case, and we got to fix it. We got to fix it because our sport of college football is just, it's completely untenable right now. And what we're doing to fan bases is souring them tremendously. And it doesn't have to happen. It just needs a little bit of leadership to fix this. And we'll see if they have the balls to do it. And so far in the history of the NCAA, the people that run the sport, the coaches and the athletic directors and the commissioners have shown time and time again, they don't give a shit about what happens to the sport. They just want their money. They just want their money and they want to control the money. And they don't care about the players or anything else. It's just about controlling the money. And that has to stop. That has to stop. So we'll get into that as we go through. Tre Watson's going to join us, who longtime college football player, played in the pros as well. Brother of Christian Watson, was a captain at Maryland and Illinois in college football. So he knows, he's been through coaching changes. He's been through all these things, and I want to get an idea from a player standpoint where he would be if he was sitting in that Ole Miss meeting room last night when their coach was not allowed to come in, and your athletic director gave you a guy who ain't going to win anything for you. And there's the idea of Ole Miss being kept out of the playoff, I think, is completely egregious. And anyway, we'll get to all that because this is the Tampa Bay show. And even though all this affects us at the University of South Florida, I mean, Golesh is gone. There's a lot of people that are pissed off about it. It wasn't, luckily y'all didn't show up at the airport like they did in Oxford and boo the man as he was getting on the plane. That was interesting to watch. But there's a lot of vitriol directed his way, which I think is misplaced. And who's next? Who's next at USF? John Gruden? John Gruden? I think he wants the job. Be a big splash hire. Rob Higgins likes those splashes. Derek Brooks, his new COO, may have a connection to John Gruden. They were all together yesterday at the Bucs as Simeon Rice went in the Ring of Honor. And yeah, Gruden, Brooks, Rob Higgins, they all know each other very, very well. It would be a huge splash. We don't know how good a coach John Gruden would be in college, but he would certainly bring energy. All these programs are moving more towards a professional model, which is probably for the best at this point. But yeah, that seems, I love the idea of hiring Anthony Becht. Obviously a longtime friend. I know him well. I think much more well-suited for the college game. But obviously Gruden brings a lot more flash. Barstool I'm sure would get behind him, money, NIL, all that stuff. It's an impressive case. No question about it. So Rob Higgins is going to have, and Derek Brooks are going to have a very good group of candidates to take this program to the next level. So if you're at USF right now, I would not be pissed off at all. I would be extremely excited about what the future holds. And a lot of that you owe to Alex Golish. So we're hitting on a couple topics here that we're going to get into much more detail in our second hour. But let's get to what you guys are all talking about. By the way, good morning to all of you in the comments. We appreciate you jumping in, all you Petermans, and we'll get to your comments here in just a little bit. God, so much happened over the weekend. Let's just get ripped right into the Buccaneers yesterday. Look, you got off the schneid. That's what the Cardinals were here for. A 3-9 football team that has been really, really plucky and scrappy and been in games with just about everybody, but can't finish or didn't want to finish. Wink, wink, if you know what I mean. They were impressive at times, and they outgained the Buccaneers by over 100 yards, 106 yards, I believe it was. They first downed them, 22-13, and controlled this game for a lot of the game. The Bucs made the plays to win, and that's what counts. They made two very important turnovers that were in the plus situation where the Cardinals were probably going to get a score. They get the turnovers, forced turnovers. One was a forced fumble by Logan Hall. Great play. Tyke Smith jumps on it. Another one was a tip ball that Antoine Winfield comes up with, both denying scoring opportunities. They had two big fourth down stops as well. Anthony Nelson comes up with a huge fourth down play. Once again, this guy is not, he's never going to be an all-pro player, but man, does he step up and make plays when you need it. And that's impressive. And that was a huge play. So the Bucs made the plays. There were some key third downs that they got, but a lot of key third downs they left on the table that kept them from making this a 3-score game and blowing out the Cardinals, which they should have done. Quite frankly, they were in position twice. They had 2-score leads, and they just let them back in the game. And this is one of my big takeaways. When the Bucs go up in this game, 20-10 on the Chase McLaughlin field goal, and you have an opportunity to get a stop, go get some more points, and bury this team. It's what we've been talking about, and Baker's been talking about, and Bowles has been talking about, the killer instinct. And this team just doesn't have it. It just don't have it. And you can, and yes, I blame the coaching staff first and foremost. And it's all about body language and what you're doing. So after McLaughlin hits the 57-yard field goal, which, by the way, post-game notes on our kicker, this 2 for 2 on field goals. McLaughlin is a perfect 9 for 9 on field goals from 50-plus yards away. His 9 such makes are the most in the NFL. McLaughlin is the fourth kicker this year, fourth kicker since 2000, and the first since Brandon Aubrey in 23 to have at least 9 attempts of 50 yards in the season in a record of 100% success rate. That dude is effing clutch. So you get a turnover, you go 3 and out. You can't move the freaking ball. So you have to turn to Chase, and he bangs it through. All right, now we get a 2-score lead. Let's go defense. Let's go shut the door. What are we going to do? Shocking development, Nick. We're going to rush 4 and drop into zone coverage. Throw the ball in the flat, easy 12 yards against these linebackers every single time. The guys wide open, can't cover anybody in zone, right down the field. Trey McBride, touchdown, 1-score game. 4 minutes, 9 plays, 74 yards. Have it. Just have it. Take it. We don't care. Whatever. We're up 2 scores. Well, whatever. We're good. Oh, maddening. Absolutely maddening. And it's almost, it's kind of like a golfer, an old golfer that can't close the deal. And you know why? Scars. Battle scars. So when they're, sitting in the middle of the fairway with a wedge in their hand, they're not thinking about, I'm going to stick this to 2 feet. They're thinking about, remember back in the 07 John Deere Classic when I shanked it to the left and lost? It seems like Bowles is like scarred. Like, remember in the playoff game against the Rams when I called for a blitz and nobody got and then one of freaking what's his face is going down the middle of the field, wide ass open to set up a game-winning field goal. It's like he's so terrified to be aggressive in those moments. And I don't get it. Jacoby Brissett, I'm not going to sit here and dump on him like he's a trash quarterback. He's averaging like 280 yards a game when he plays. He can move the ball. He makes mistakes, as we saw yesterday, thankfully. But I don't care. Get after his ass. Do something aggressively. Just letting him go down the field. I know this is, it's a bend but don't break. We'll let him do whatever they want in the 20s, but when we get in the red zone, we're going to shut it down. Really? Because Trey McBride just took that into the end zone. Looked pretty easy to me. Yeah, that just is, and it's not just the defense. The offense is just as much his fault. Shut the damn door. I asked Baker about this yesterday, and he was frustrated. He's like, yeah, man, we had third downs there. I threw that one high to Ibuka over the middle. We got to convert there. We got to get 7. Godwin had a drop touchdown pass, but I thought Godwin was really good yesterday, kind of running through some tackles, looked like the old Chris Godwin. And that ball he dropped in the end zone, I'm not sure if it was tipped by the linebacker, but he waved in front of him. It was he'll be the first one to tell you he's got to catch that football. But these are the details that good teams execute in the situations and don't let bad teams hang around. They could have lost that game very easily yesterday. In fact, when the Cardinals got, and shout out to Riley Dixon, who had a really good day, pinned him deep late, and they had to go 90 yards, and they got off the field on fourth down. Servassier Dennis with a nice play. He was actually in the right position, more of a bad pass, but they got it done. So you get the win, but it's just not what you want to see from a really good football team. Let's bury their ass. That should have been a 31-10 game. Should have been a 31-10 game, game over. And instead, it's 20-17, and you leave Jacoby Brissett the outside opportunity to come back and beat you, which has happened before against this defense. Way too easy. So love that Bucky is back, and you just see the element that he gives you. It's just night and day, the offense, when you have that, especially in the red zone, where you can pitch it to him and let it go. The big man touchdown to Tristan Wirfs was fantastic. Anchor bar, love the name of this one, Anchor Bar, which I'm sure they were at last night celebrating. That's Tristan's favorite bar, Davis Island Dive Bar, which I love dearly. I've walked home from many, many times in my past. Love that place. I love that they name it after a dive bar. Great call. Anchor Bar. Great call. I thought Grizzard had a good day. Thought I had a good day calling plays, but the execution was just not there at times. Yeah, the pass protection was better. Bredesen is back. Bucky is back. You're getting the real Godwin back. Looks like Evans and J-Mac are on the precipice of coming back as well. J-Mac has been cleared. You get Cansey back. Looks like he's coming back in December. you really got a chance to change this team and make it into the one. I thought Hassan Reddick was really good yesterday. He was really good seeing him back. So we're starting to get this team back. And folks, it is about the Jimmies and Joes. And when you're so depleted, but you can still win games and bank games like they did, we told you that was a huge key to the season. Bank those wins. That Seattle win was huge. So now you sit at 7-5. You're getting guys back. Panthers are hot. They look good yesterday against the Rams. It's going to come down to that. But more than anything, this team has got to get a killer instinct. They've got to play with energy and fire and emotion through the end of the game. That defense just looks so flat at times. And it's maddening. This team has a chance to do something, but I just don't feel like this coaching staff. I mean, look at Liam Cohen. He's 8-4. The Fighting Dave Canales. These are offensive-minded coaches that have gotten away from Tampa Bay. And this is not a need to fire Todd Bowles rant now, but Todd Bowles needs to get back to the way he was coaching earlier in the season and being more aggressive. Because that drive yesterday in the fourth quarter just got up my ass, and I just can't. I hate it. And the offense not having it, that killer instinct either. And it's almost like body language. Like we're just going to hang around. We're not, we do this all the time. One score games. But stop it. Knock somebody out. All right. That's my rant. What are your thoughts, Nick?
Yeah, I feel like it's one of those things where it's like better, but not good. They were better, but it was not good. And the way you talk about body language, there wasn't really much yesterday, truthfully, that got under my skin from a coaching perspective. That's just me. Yesterday, I felt like the effort waned a bit defensively. I really did, because tackling to me is effort. Tackling is all effort. Yeah. And the tackling yesterday was embarrassing. And at one point, I think, remember Bam Knight turned up field on one play, in the third quarter, I think.
Yeah.
It might have been on the drive you were talking about. And there's 3 Buccaneers right around him. And he somehow
Parrish hits him in the legs and tries to wrap up his legs, right? And here comes Zion with the shoulder trying to do the knockout hit instead of coming in with your chest and tackling him or punching at the ball. How about punching at the ball? Yeah. And then Servassier Dennis comes in to finish off the clown show and knock everybody off. I mean, 3 guys. Jesus Christ.
Literally.
Terrible tackling.
I kid you not. So yesterday, this is a side note, but it matters here in this conversation. Yesterday, my wife's family did their Thanksgiving, basically, because it was the only time everybody could get together. I'm sitting on the couch, literally next to my wife's grandfather, who I think is 87 years old or something. And he watched the tackling going on. He at one point just leaned over and he's like, why is the form of the tackling nowadays in the NFL so bad? And I'm like, I don't know if it's like this across the league, but I'm like, the Bucs today just seem like they're just content with the shoulder, going for the shoulder knockouts and, just not wrapping up. And I don't know what that was. And, that was an issue maybe in the Seattle game, I think it was, where they couldn't tackle.
Mm-hmm.
And but it hadn't really showed up, I thought, of late. But then yesterday it came back to bite you. And, at the end of the day, the Bucs won the game. I guess I should say that. The Bucs won the game. We've always talked about learn your lessons and wins, not losses, yada, yada, yada. They needed to stop the bleeding. But everything just looked so lethargic yesterday. It really did. And, I wasn't at the game. You were. Coming over the TV, it just felt like it was flat in the stadium.
Yeah.
It felt very flat. It felt like the team sort of played the way that it was flat in the stadium, which I thought was surprising because you had the Simeon Rice, induction yesterday. You had all the key players of this Bucs history were all there yesterday. Gruden is hyping up the crowd on the pirate ship before the game.
Yeah.
It was just flat. It's just flat. And it was a little disappointing. And so 2017, it should have never been that close. And the Cardinals outgained you by over 100 yards. This was not a good day for the Bucs defense. You gave up 17 points. That's great. You got 2 turnovers, but the turnovers is what saved them. I mean, literally, this turnovers is what saved them. Jamel Dean making a good play on the football. He could have picked that off, but thankfully Winfield was right there to get it before it hit the ground. The defense to me did not play well. Zion, I thought, had another rough day going up against Marvin Harrison Jr. and Marvin Harrison Jr. who was coming back from appendicitis, I think it was, and also had like a heel injury the entire game. Still finding ways to get open on Zion. So it's just sort of is what it is right now with Zion's play. The confidence is just not there right now for a guy who you're counting on. But there was no excuses yesterday because I thought Dean came back into the lineup. Reddick came back into the lineup. So at that point, you're only missing Cansey of your normal, 11 that you trot out there at the beginning of the season. So I was like, no excuses. And he gave up over 400 yards.
Yeah.
Really?
300 yards passing to Jacoby Brissett. 300
yards passing. Bam Knight, even when they didn't run the ball much, but what did he average? 5.6 yards per carry. I mean, come on. It's just this defense is just, there's zero trust right now in them moving forward. And that's what scares me long term. I thought offensively, Baker said, they felt like they were close. I do agree with that.
Yeah, I do
Godwin
too.
drops a touchdown early in the game. It was the first drive of the game. They were rolling, and then Ibuka dropped one over the middle of the field that brought that drive to a halt. There were some bad penalties that they weren't even penalties. They were bad calls, I should say.
Terrible calls.
But
Holding
that's
calls.
NFL,
Terrible.
That's NFL officiating for you. But the return
and
of Bucky,
and the PI on the touchdown from Tez was just ridiculous.
It was a joke.
That's a terrible call. It's a terrible call.
But the return of Bucky, I thought, provided some juice to the offense. I mean, he had to have forced like 10 tackles or missed tackles yesterday, like 10 of them. And they flashed it up on the screen. He leads the NFL since he came into the league in missed tackle rate. So that was positive. Godwin's got to catch a touchdown. Ibuka, for all the plays he's made this year, he's had some issues with drops. I think that's probably going to get figured out long term, but it's just worth noting. So I think they were closer yesterday offensively, but defensively, I just struggle to have much confidence in this group.
Energy is something that you mentioned, and it's, as Simeon is down there and Brooks are down there and Rondé, and I'm seeing everybody, and Gruden hyping everybody up. And I kind of did a flashback to the 2002 team, and maybe this is not fair, but do you remember what that defense looked like on the field? Do you remember the speed and the ferocity? And it was just like every day, you showed up and you're like, our defense is going to kick some ass today. And it starts from the very beginning, the other team trying to run, and there's just 7 guys there, and it's tackle for loss, and guys are celebrating. Simeon's dancing, and, it's just it's third down. Simeon's dancing. The crowd's going bananas, and you just know that quarterback's going, F. Jesus. I mean, there was just a feeling of you're fucking done, Yeah. And this defense is like, hey, come on. Yeah.
I thought
we're just going to keep it in front of us and, tackle nice and, when we tackle, we'll lay them down soft so nobody gets hurt. We can just play a little bit of zone here and let's keep everything in front, guys, and just come up and make sure we get everybody on the ground. And okay, good job. We'll get them in the red zone. It's like, God, knock somebody out. Like, can you remember a big hit defensively this year? Like, I can't even. I'm sure there have been a couple.
Oh, Winfield in week 1, saved the game.
Yeah,
with a big hit. The thing is, like, the Bucs make some plays on defense, but they're just very isolated. They're just plays. Like, you don't have like any sustained, like, where they build it, together and string together like a bunch of plays. It's just like one play here, one play there. The front 7, we talked about it last week. Like, that just, at this point, the front 7 is something that's going to have to be overhauled probably in the off season.
Definitely.
And, yesterday was a good example of that. Like, Reddick came back and, I don't know what the pass rush was a little bit better, and maybe that had to do with the fact that Reddick was there. They were rushing the passer a lot better earlier in the season when Reddick was playing.
Yeah, got a couple of sacks,
Yeah, but Reddick's not. But at the same time, Reddick's not. he's not exactly beating these one-on-one. He had plenty of one-on-one looks yesterday against the right tackle for Arizona. And, I don't recall him ever really bull rushing or getting close to, or he got close a couple times, I guess, but just not enough impact probably from a down-to-down basis. And you don't have anybody in the front seven that's doing that. Like Yaya got a sack, but that was the only play that I felt like Yaya made all day. Like, does that mean Yaya played a good game because he had one play?
Yeah.
Probably not. Vita Vea, he has started to be very, kind of MIA, I feel like, for the last few weeks. What you're getting in that linebacker core. It's not going to be great. Tyke, I have to go back and watch
That's
it.
That's the other thing I said.
He looked like he was the one there and that got beat or a little bit. He was at least in the vicinity of McBride when he had that touchdown. So I'm not sure yet on that one. I haven't looked back at it, but yeah, you just don't have enough guys.
It looked like zone and Winfield didn't get over in time. Yeah. It just no pressure on Brissett. Easily can look downfield and step into the throw. And that's the thing. It's like when quarterbacks are just comfortable, they play with a different edge, and when they're uncomfortable, they don't. I thought the Bucs pass protection was much better yesterday. There were times when Baker could step into throws, but there were also a lot of times when he just couldn't sit on his back foot, get a read, and go. It seemed like every time he hit his back foot, he was moving. And sometimes that's on the quarterback because he's lost confidence in his protection. And when you've lost confidence, you start seeing ghosts. And I think we've seen a little bit of that from Baker recently because of the right guard's position has been a complete swinging door. But it got better yesterday with Bredesen. So as he gets more confidence up front in these guys, the better Baker will be. But I still think there was residue from that. But, there were a lot of good things that we saw, and getting guys back helps. The Bucky thing helps. There's no question about it. Bredesen, big deal, getting him back as well. So slowly but surely, we saw an increment. I think they got better yesterday. I think they got better, but marginally. And as more guys come back, better. And I did ask Godwin about this. I said, there's a narrative out there that you're getting guys back like yourself and getting guys healthy that are going to come back and the schedule is more manageable. Is that something that you guys talk about? And he's like, no, we don't talk about that. We talk about this game and we got to be better and continue to improve as a team, which is good. You never want to look ahead, but there's got to be, to me, a shift in intensity level. Because this team just does not seem like they don't play with their hair on fire. They just don't. And if you're going to win in this league, you have to. You've got to be more emotional. You've got to be more spirited. It just seemed flat yesterday. You're on a 3-game losing streak. Lost 4 of 5. And you come out and on a beautiful day like this, the cannons are firing, and you just it's just I just don't sense the intensity and the energy and the fire. I don't know. You guys, what are your thoughts? All right, we're going to take our first break. We're going to come back and get to comments, and then we're going to get into a lot of the college football stuff. I've got some information on the Florida State front. We'll talk about who's next for USF. What do you guys think? Who would you like to see? I've heard Gruden's name. I've heard Anthony Beck's name. I've heard Robert Wiener's name. I think that's a long shot. I've heard, there's a few other guys that are in the mix. Who do you think is going to be the next USF head coach? And a very interesting, I thought, reaction from Rob Higgins and an absolutely spot on one that he posted that we're going to get to. So going to have to do lots of USF talk as we continue on here. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES If you're involved in an accident, they should be your first call. Small enough to make you a priority, big enough to hang with those big insurance companies, and they will make they're local, they are trusted, and they get results. 930 spokesman offices, Tampa and St. Pete. And the great folks at Genesis of Tampa, they will get you into a beautiful new car here in December at the end of the year. It's a great time to make a deal, folks, with the new models coming in. So go to Genesis of Tampa, and great lease deals going on right now. And just take a test drive in the GV80, the GV70. The sedans are incredible. Technology, comfort, and value. The price off the charts. Genesis of Tampa. All right, back with your comments in 3. Stay with us. Experience the art of driving at Genesis of Tampa, where luxury meets innovation and every detail is crafted for you. From the bold G70 to the refined GV80, Genesis delivers power, elegance, and technology years ahead of its time. Book service online, and our Genesis Experience advisors will pick you up and drop off your vehicle. If available, you can enjoy a courtesy car while yours gets a complimentary interior vacuum plus a generous offer for your trade. Every new Genesis comes with the Miracle Advantage Plan, 10 years or 250,000 miles of powertrain warranty and 4 years of complimentary maintenance. Visit us at 801 East Bears Avenue or online at genesisoftampa.com. Genesis of Tampa, luxury redefined. Italiano Insurance would like to congratulate the Bucs on their 50th anniversary season. And you know what? We've been here for every season and then some, over 60 years in business. We've seen some smart coaches with great game plans, but if you don't have flood insurance or business insurance, that's a terrible game plan. That could ruin you financially. You don't want to take that L. So call 813-877-7799 and let their friendly agents quarterback your insurance and save you big money. Italiano also sponsors our FSU report every week, so go Noles. 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com. Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Are you having legal issues with a business partner or other legal business issues? The attorneys at Walters, Levine & DeGrave can help. Call 800-616-0384 for a free consultation. At Walters, Levine & DeGrave, we've redefined what a law firm can be with top-tier attorneys, personal service, and 26 years of success. From business law to civil litigation, we deliver smart, client-focused solutions. Walters, Levine & DeGrave recently won a $6.4 million jury verdict from a large real estate developer, and they can win for you too. Walters, Levine & DeGrave. Let's solve it together. Not attorney spokesman. For a free consultation, call 800-616-0384 or go to walterslevine.com. Offices Tampa, Sarasota.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here on this Victory Monday. Thank you guys so much for joining us. And don't forget, Riveters is always your spot pregame for Bucs game. We got some 2 more home games coming up this week or in the next couple of weeks. So make sure you go to Riveters. They are you can park right there, by the way. Got a huge parking lot, and you can have a drink, have a pregame, and then walk to the game from there. It's about a little less than a mile to get there on these beautiful days. Great walk, right? So save yourself the $50 and spend it at Riveters instead on parking. And you can get a great meal there, pregame meal. They do pregame Bucs brunch. And don't forget, for the holidays, if you want some great food catered right to your door, they do catering. You can come pick it up or they will deliver it to you. I picked up wings there many, many, many times, and they are, sometimes you pick up wings and they're like a little cold, and it's not at Riveters. You get there, they keep it hot for you. Boom, you bring it home. It's fantastic, or wherever you're going for a party. Riveters is the place to be, and they have special pricing in the mornings for Bucs brunch, so check it out. And late night happy hour coming soon. Late night happy hour at Riveters. All right, partner, you want to get into some comments here this morning?
Let's do it. We got a lot in here today.
Let's do it. What's up, you Petermans? By the way, again, YouTube has kind of changed their modality, and I don't know what your old handles are.
I don't like
I'm
it.
just guessing. I do not like it at all. JS says, oh boy, what a weekend. I'm going to grab my popcorn and enjoy today's episode. We got so much more to come too. He also says, I hope all the Petermans had a wonderful Thanksgiving. Is everyone up from their food coma? Man, I had an unbelievable Thanksgiving. Ooh, it was good. Bucks Basement says, morning, guys. Hope you had a happy Thanksgiving. I honestly have never felt more disgusted at a win since probably the Panthers 9-0 win in 2023. It's really felt lifeless. I agree. And as someone said, we're not going to get into fire bowls this morning. Although I'll say this, people say that they won't, unless they lose every game, that he won't be fired. If they don't win a home playoff game and win this division, I think it's very much in play whether they keep on. And listen, the fact that Liam Cohen's 8-4 and Canales is 7-5, I think is something it is definitely noticed by the Glazers. Because yes, the Panthers did win. JS also says, where's the game manager in all this? It looks like the game manager has been fired. I don't know. I don't know where he went, but I think he's been fired. All right. Sorry, Bucks Basement. I'm not going to get into all the bitching and moaning, but we get the point. Chris Cole says the difference is that the Rams were home against us and had to go across the country and play in the rain. I think that makes a difference, no question about it. But we played like shit against the Rams. We played terrible, and we showed absolutely no fight. That defense was completely exposed, and I thought it was a tremendous red flag. No question about it. Look, when they got to come east and play a 1:00 game, it's tough for these West Coast teams. We see that all the time. But the point is, I mean, if anybody still thinks that the Panthers are not a solid football team and drastically improved, if you don't think that, well, you're about to find out.
Well, it's like one of those things where, like, I know it's football and like anybody can beat anybody, and we've seen that this year. But the Bucs played the Bills the week after I watched the Dolphins shut the Bills down, and then the Bills absolutely just beat the brakes off the Bucs defense, and then the Bills couldn't do anything against the Texans defense. And I know the Texans have the best defense in the league, but that's just like the Bucs are so uncompetitive against the Bills when other teams have figured out ways to stop them this year. And then the Bucs were completely not even in the game against the Rams and just got boat raced the entire way. And then 1 week later, the Carolina Panthers, of all teams, are able to get Matthew Stafford to turn the ball over 3 times and score 30 on their defense after the Bucs couldn't do anything.
Right.
Like, it's just fascinating to me that like all these other teams can go up against, the really good teams in the league and they can put together a really good performance. And when the Bucs go up against a team like Buffalo or like Los Angeles, the best teams in the league, we know going in, it's like, oh, the Bucs have no chance today. And why do we think that? Like, why are we just resigned to that? But they show us time after time after time that is just who they are. So yeah, I agree with a lot of the comments today. Like, you're happy you won the game and everything, and that's great, but it's just not the level of play that you're looking for at this point in the season. And I thought you had no excuses yesterday because you were relatively healthy across the board. Yeah.
Listen, it matters that they were depleted against the Bills. They were depleted against the Rams to the worst of that both guards were out. Bredesen coming back makes a huge difference. But still, you need to be we're not talking about like, okay, they couldn't beat the Bills. They couldn't beat the Rams. They were non-competitive. The Rams could have scored 60 if they wanted to. They could have scored 60 and they called off the Dogs. So, and the Panthers beat them. So yeah, there's a problem going on right now. And listen, we're not trying to be negative here, as JS says. This chat always complains, even when they win. Bunch of negative Nancys. I mean, it's mostly Bucks Basement, honestly. But we're process driven as well. We're not just going to go by the results and come in here and throw rainbows and lollipops around and blow smoke up their ass when they just didn't play well. That effort is not good enough defensively, and the execution offensively was not good. You won a game. You got out gained by over 100 yards, So let's keep it to where it is. You got to be better. There were positives, which we pointed out. Bucky, Godwin, Bredesen, getting the turnovers, a couple of nice plays, but in general,
I mean, hell, the Bucs have struggled so much, down near the goal line, and Josh Grizzard finally figured out something, with the play to Wirfs and everything. I think he deserves credit for that. For getting a little bold there and letting that work. If I was going to say another thing about the offense too that I didn't mention that I meant to, they have got to stop living on third down. Like, they were on third down yesterday 16 times. The Cardinals were only on third down 8 times. And this has been a trend. They have to find a way to be better on first down and second down, because you can't be living in third down. They haven't been great on third down all year. And it's not just living on third down, it's living in third and long. Like, they're just routinely living in those situations, and that certainly is hurting the offense's sort of efficiency. But again, largely, I still thought yesterday was a step forward for the offense. And like Baker said, I think they were close yesterday.
7 for 16 on third down, which isn't terrible. 1 for 1 on fourth down. Good call and go for. So not terrible in that regard. But if you're going to, this isn't a great Arizona defense. I mean, let's be honest about that. If you're going to be an elite team, and again, I think this team aspires to that. They're far from it right now. Far from it. But I do think they can become competitive. They were. I mean, they beat the Texans on the road. They beat Seattle on the road. Those are good quality wins. What's that?
San Francisco too.
San Francisco.
With every win that San Francisco picks up, that looks better and better.
Yeah. So you when they were more healthy, they could go toe-to-toe with anybody.
And someone mentioned in the comments too, like, they are, for what it's worth, like, I don't know if this is like the total end-all be-all or if it's just one of those stats, but they're 6-2 when Hassan Reddick's in the lineup this year.
Okay. Yeah.
So
he makes a difference. I know he's only credited for 2 tackles yesterday, but I thought he was getting after the quarterback, and he makes a difference. I think he's a huge upgrade. Sergio Biltres, good morning to you. Says, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Victory Monday. Thought it was pretty. It wasn't pretty. There's a lot to clean up. Still missed tackles and drop balls. He continues, the Rams losing to the Panthers just shows there is no dominant team this year. I see us having Mike and J-Mac back once we play the Panthers, and that will definitely help. Yeah, it's going to open up the run game. It's going to open up the pass game. We're going to be much better in the red zone, which is obviously a big deal.
It sounds like, I was going to say, and it sounds like, speaking to Evans and McMillan obviously is going to be sometime. I feel like McMillan's probably going to be on the later part of December, if I had to guess. But I think I saw, Rappaport, I think, said before yesterday's game, he was like, they get Bucky back. And then Mike, he said maybe next week. And I'm like, I don't think any of us initially had it, Mike coming back potentially in week 14. So yeah, you get Mike back in the lineup next week, and that is able to free up a lot of things for Emeka Egbuka. Bucky being back, like, suddenly there's a pathway there for this offense to be a lot more dangerous, because just Mike's presence. It's like, obviously Mike will make plays too, but I just want his presence in the lineup and knowing that defenses have to account for him and open things up for other guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's another one from Never Had a Chance 05. What's your old name? Forget. Sorry. Tampa media, please keep hammering Todd blows. That's not nice. Why does this secondary struggle in coverage in year 7 of the same scheme? Receivers are always open. Yeah. The lack of tight coverage is just alarming. It's mostly in zone defense, but even in man-to-man, they're not close enough to make a play. It's very, very concerning. The zone defense is just awful. It's just terrible. Yes, Nick and you are twinning today with the glasses, or I am. Yeah, in terms of looking at this team. Yeah, I mean, we're looking at it.
Well, no, we were literally wearing the same glasses. I have since taken them off because I didn't like the way it was looking. But yeah.
Never Had a Chance. 05 says FSU was a disgrace. Got stomped by a school that fired their coach. Clown show, no doubt. It was a clown show. We'll get into this a little bit more in the second half. I got so much to say about Florida State and where they're at and all the college stuff, but we'll get through the Bucs comments here. Greg DeCruz says the Bucs won, so I'm happy. Yeah, there's a lot to bitch about, but after the last 3 weeks, I'd rather be on the winning side. Yep, always. Bucks Patron says, JP, no offense, but your Norvell take aged horrendously. Why would you want to keep a coach that lost to a team that fired their head coach is beyond me, but hey, FSU is being losers. It's good for UM fans like me. There's a lot that people don't understand about the Mike Norvell thing. And I don't know where you come up with this or anybody comes up with me defending Mike Norvell. I have not defended him at all. He's a terrible coach. He once again cost them the game on Saturday night with a horrendous fourth down call. He is a buffoon. There's a lot more layers to this that I have to explain in the next hour, but nobody is supporting Mike Norvell. Not on this show, has not. So I don't know what you're talking about. Did I think he would be gone at the end of the season? I did. 100%. I was wrong about that because I knew that they were pursuing Lane Kiffin and felt like they had a good shot to get him. And you all may want to laugh at that, but trust me, probably had a better shot to get him than Florida did because he wasn't going there. The whole narrative that Florida has moved on from Lane Kiffin. Is that what you tell yourself when, when you ask them to the prom and they say no? I've moved on from her. Yeah. No, that's not what happened. And the Gators are in no better situation than Florida State. You hired another G5 guy. He may be good. I don't know. And neither do you. Sumlin's got a nice record at Troy and Tulane. This ain't Troy or Tulane. So
you have been very anti-Summerall. You've been very
I'm not anti. I'm just tired of these programs like Florida State hiring these G5 guys Florida should be hiring someone with P4 experience that has done it like they did with Dan Mullen, who actually won games and won some big games.
I don't know. I tend to think Summerall's like the next defensive guru that could really take. I tend to believe that. Okay. I tend to believe that, and yet a lot of Florida fans are really upset about the hire, which I thought was a little surprising.
I don't blame him. I don't blame him because it just feels like a lot of the same. And he may be great. He may turn out to be great, but it feels like a lot of the same. It feels like McElwain. It feels like Napier.
It feels like McElwain, really?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. Won some games at Colorado State. Woo! Yeah, he's the next up and coming hot shot coach. That's what all these guys are. They win at lower levels, and it looks great on the resume. And then when you get, and here's, like I've said, winning in the SEC takes someone very, very special, like really special, and usually with a lot of chops, who's made a lot of mistakes in their years, and figure it out.
So based on your reasoning here, I assume that you're not a big fan of the Goalish hire at Auburn either, then. Because what's the difference?
I don't think Alex Goalish will win an SEC title. I don't think that offense plays in the SEC.
But there's only 3 schools that do win SEC titles, to be fair.
That's right.
Even this year with A&M dominating the entire season and the SEC seemingly being wide open, who's playing in the SEC championship this week? Georgia
and Alabama.
And everybody at the beginning of the year was like, "Oh, this is the year that you're going to get
Alabama.
You're going to get Alabama."
Right?
No, they're still playing in the SEC championship game. And then every now and then LSU sprinkles themselves into the mix.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, it looks like we got to most of the Bucs comments, so we can transfer over here to college now because there's a lot of college comments in here, and I want to get to these. JS says And NIL and coaching carousels are ruining the sport. Let me just say this about Lane Kiffin. And I know I may be in the minority here, but I think if there's anybody who is at fault here in the Lane Kiffin thing, number one, it's the calendar. This calendar in college sports has to be changed, and it will be. When the SCORE Act bill is passed in the House of Representatives, it's going to give the NCAA antitrust exemption, which means that the players can't sue, the coaches can't sue these institutions, so that they can make rules, collective bargain, things like that can fix the sport. And I like that. I think that's good. If the powers that be don't abuse it. Now, already they've started to limit the portal and change the portal rules, which I think is good, and I think that's important. But you also have to go and attack the situations with the coaches. The coaches are leveraging these teams and these programs into these huge buyouts and these huge contracts, which they have not earned. I mean, Alex Golesh got a 6-year, $7 million deal, and has probably got an 85% buyout. That is ridiculous. I'm happy for him. It's fantastic. I'm happy for him and his family. And I'm not picking on him because Summerall's probably going to get the same deal at Florida. In fact, I think that's what isn't that what he's making, about $7.5 million? I think he and Golesh, those deals are about the same. And of course, Lane's going to be making $13 million. And
he's making Kirby Smart money.
Yeah. Making Liam Cohen money. Yeah.
I don't like, yeah, that's the hilarious part of like the LSU thing is like, and I know this quite literally is politics. College football might as well just be a game of politics at this point. And these coaches are all just politicians wearing, dressed up as a college football head coach. But, you have the governor of Louisiana that's out here openly like berating the deals being made around college football. And we're never going to do that again here at Louisiana State University. And, you just sort of did.
Yeah, you did.
You just did it again. You fed right into the Jimmy Sexton nonsense, and everybody's doing it. I mean, all these deals, even these extensions, like the Drinkwitz extension, Eli Drinkwitz is getting paid like near $11 million a year.
Yeah,
and that's fine to go 8-4 at Missouri. I'm sure is fine, and I'm sure the fan base is satisfied with that in the SEC. But $11 million, Clark Leia is getting like the same thing on his extension. Like, it's madness. It is absolute madness.
It's because these ADs have no leverage whatsoever. Because if you want to keep your coach, this is the going rate, and these are the buyouts. Now, with all the rules that they change on the players, they could easily get rid of these buyouts, cap them at 10%, and then you'll be able to fire your coach when he doesn't perform. And they could easily make these things limit the calendar of when these coaches can be contacted. They do it in the NFL. We don't have NFL coaches being hired away in the middle of the season because there's rules against it. And you can get all the power conferences to sign on and say you cannot contact coaches. Deals cannot be done. Now, will there be, backroom dealings? Of course. But you can't hire them. Players can't move and do anything until the season is over. It's very easily done. Once they get this antitrust exemption, they can do it. Will they do that? Will they limit the compensation on the coaches? And I think they should. If you're limiting compensation to the players, you can limit compensation to the coaches. And there'll still be plenty of coaches out there that want the jobs. But you won't get into these ridiculous buyouts that are hampering Florida State and have hampered other programs. As these buyouts build up. And you're paying 2, 3, 4 coaches. I mean, that money should be going to the athletes and the programs than to one person who failed miserably. It's ridiculous. And those things can be changed. But the people that run the sport, the ADs, the commissioners, and the coaches have to do it. It's just like, term limits. Everybody's for term limits, but the people that run the country are not. And you're never going to get a vote on it.
Yeah.
And that's corrupt.
You mentioned too, like the Lane Kiffin thing, it's the system at play here is what you should address your vitriol towards. And that kind of is where I'm at too. Like, I agree. Am I going to sit here today and say that Lane Kiffin has been, squeaky clean throughout all of this and has done all the right things? No, I'm not going to be naive and say that. But you kind of get put in a box. Like LSU decided to fire Brian Kelly, in late October? And it became clear that Lane Kiffin was going to be their target. And Florida obviously had the opening with Napier, and it's like two schools going back and forth. And from Ole Miss's perspective, you're still playing a season. And that's the thing. Like, at that time, Ole Miss still's got 5 games left to go in the regular season. And they got to deal with, constant, nonsense being spread about where their coach is going and his future. And he has to answer these questions. And every fan base gets so riled up because these coaches have to answer these questions. And by the way, they are lying. They are lying to your face.
Yes,
they are, but they have to. So I don't get all fired up about it's the same thing with Golish. And I know USF fans are upset because Alex Golish has said over and over, I'm not thinking about other jobs. I haven't been approached. Of course he has. And of course he was, but he's not going to just outright come out and say that, because what good does that do? And so, all this stuff about Golish, and then yesterday comes and all of a sudden, he's got the job at Auburn after the night before he said he was going to take some time to think about it. No, he had the deal done. It is what it is, but I'm not mad at these coaches. I'm mad at the system at play, because there needs to be a period where all this stuff takes place and not happening during regular season games, not happening before conference championships or the playoffs. And then it's early signing day is in 2 days. So all of these programs need their coaches on board now, because they have to make this final push for signing day. Oh, by the way, it's portal season too. So that's going on. So now you got to build a roster for next year. So in a way, I don't feel bad for Lane Kiffin necessarily, but I do feel for him in a little bit of a sense of, look at everything we've accomplished and everything we've built at Ole Miss, and we're going to be in the college football playoff. We feel like we have a shot to win the national championship. Yes, I want to go to LSU, but I do want to finish this here at Ole Miss and finish what we started. But it's such a complicated issue, because you're not going to a different team in a different conference or something like that. Whereas, Florida's going to allow Summerall to continue the season out for Tulane. And they're fine allowing him to do that because it's Tulane. It's an American team. It's probably good to allow him to get that experience, by the way, of potentially coaching in the playoff. I think that's a smart move by Florida to allow him to do that.
Absolutely.
But at LSU, LSU seemed like they were content to let Lane do this. Clearly, I think they were content. But Ole Miss took the stance of no, you're either with us or you're against us, and they decided
I disagree with.
Which they decided get out. And I wonder how the players feel about that. I know Lane said
you don't have to wonder. You don't have to wonder.
Lane said from his perspective that the players wanted him to be able to stay, and Keith Carter said no.
That's
right.
But
at the same time, you see reports about the players saying that they wanted Lane to go and they were ready for Pete Golding. So I don't know. It sounds like a lot of he said, she said at this point, and we'll never know the full truth of that. But I'm not as chapped. I guess my general point is I'm not as chapped at Lane Kiffin for all of this circus, because I think the circus here is the system at play that has just put all of these coaches in a box, and it turned into something that it should have never been. And that to me is on the NCAA, but the NCAA is spineless, and the NCAA has no authority or chooses not to enact on any sort of authority.
Well, you nailed it there. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. And I think Lane is an easy target because of his past history, but I also know the family a little bit, and I know that he has changed. A lot of his perspective on life has changed. His father's passing certainly did that. And I think he's getting a raw deal here, because I do think he wanted to be with his players through this playoff run, but he also wanted to take a job that's much better than the job he has. And this is where the problem lies. Keith Carter is the athletic director at Ole Miss and lives in Oxford. And one of the things he said to Lane when they were having their conversations about him staying on is say, hey man, I got to live here. Oh, so the $3 million or whatever your ridiculous athletic director salary is, that's not enough for you to take the heat for telling your fan base the right thing. Is hey, this is business. And he's moving on to another situation that he thinks is better. And listen, none of us can sit here objectively and say that the Ole Miss job is better than the LSU job. I mean, if you're a coach, what is your ultimate goal? Win the national championship. Do you have a better chance at LSU than Ole Miss? This is not even a question. This is not even up for debate. And I know the world is changed.
The hard part about that is Ole Miss is in the playoff this year, and they're 11-1, and it's feel like you're right there. That's the hard part of when Lane yesterday.
anything. They're not even in the SEC championship game. When's the last time they won the SEC?
Probably never,
this is
right?
just, it's been a long time, the 60s. I mean, it's just, when's the last time LSU won a national championship? Pretty recently.
I mean, other than Brian Kelly, it's like if you get the LSU job this century, you basically win a national championship.
Yeah. Yes. Hell, even Ed Orgeron won one.
Yeah, and Lane Kiffin, by the way, Lane Kiffin's not attracting the top recruits at Ole Miss. You just can't do it. Whereas literally yesterday, the plan Lane's in Baton Rouge. He shakes everybody's hand, he kisses babies, and then he goes in his offense. And you know who's waiting for him in his office? Lamar Brown, the #1 overall player in the 2026 class, who is committed to LSU and has locked it down.
Yeah.
That's the difference right there.
So it's a better job, unquestionable. So he's going to a better job. He gave you 6 years of really good football and a lot of great memories. And it's the calendar that is keeping him. I mean, this is your time to go, right? You want him to make a decision. He didn't want to make a decision. Now you forced him to make a decision, Keith Carter. And then you say, I can't have you be the head coach because I have to live in Oxford. Oh, so the fans are going to be mad at you and you're going to have to take the heat to tell them, hey, listen, we got a great shot to win a national championship here. We haven't had this shot in 65 years. We're going to the college football playoff. Hell, they may not even let us go to the playoff if Lane's not the coach. So calm down, fan base, and say thank you, Lane, for what you've done here. Let's finish out this season, win a national championship that they can never take away from you. You can have a banner over your stadium and memories forever and go to Mississippi State folks and go, yeah, we won a national title. You can have that forever. And instead you're like, oh, you want to go to the rival, then get the hell out. To me, it's childish. It's ridiculously childish. It's a business. Yes. This is, if I'm the athletic director, I'm like, look, this sucks. I hate to, and I said to myself, if Mike Norvell was going to Bama or let's say Florida, and in the snub year, would I want him to finish out and go to the college football playoff? Hell yes. Hell yes. I want to win. I want to win a national championship. I got news for you, Ole Miss. Pete Golding ain't winning you a national championship. I saw his introductory where Carter introduced him to the players and everybody's happy. He comes in, he's like, oh, let's go. Well, just stupid stuff.
They're just pleased. That to me, the Pete Golding thing, that's just pleasing the players. That's all that is.
Of course.
And I don't know how
what the players wanted, what the players really wanted unanimously was for their coach to stay on. Because you know what the players understand? It's a business. And those players are leaving if they don't like who the new head coach is. And they're leaving if they're not getting playing time. Because you know why? It's a business decision. And they understand it. Fans, it's just like all the USF fans that are so mad at Alex Golish. Are you effing kidding me? He's going to the SEC. Just generational money for him and his family. For an immigrant family from Russia, $7.5 million, $50 million guaranteed. Are you effing kidding me? Like he's not going to go? Oh, but you said you'd stay. Come on. What are we talking about here? Again, if it was Mike Norvell after I would argue, hey, it's a lot easier to win a national championship at Florida State than it is Florida. But if that's what you think, go ahead. But before you leave, go ahead and win this one. Let's go.
Yeah.
So Kevin Carter, if they get left out of the playoff because they go, they pull the Florida State, they won't do this to an SEC team. They won't. But they say, you lost your coach.
They'll drop them a spot to where the difference is instead of hosting a home playoff game, they're going to be on the road. That's going to be the difference. And that's a big thing. Your
ego, Keith Carter, and your inability to take the heat, which is what leaders do, and you wanted to run him out the door because the fans are upset, instead of being a leader and saying, shut the hell up. This is our guy. He wants to coach. He's a great play caller. We got a chance to win a national championship. Let's go have some fun. He's going to leave anyway.
Well,
why would you not want him to stay?
What I was going to
coach?
say, the counter argument to that is it comes back to the schedule, in that now you're trying to go on this playoff run with Lane Kiffin as your head coach, but he's really not your head coach. And Lane Kiffin can't just pour himself 100,000% into Ole Miss. Then he can't, because he has to get LSU, who's coming off one of their worst seasons in recent memory. He's got to get them all squared away. He's got to worry about their recruits. He's got to worry about their transfer portal activities. He's got to worry about his new coaching staff, his new environments. Like, is he going to be bouncing between Ole Miss and Baton Rouge? Like, if LSU was okay with that, that's cool. I think from Ole Miss, I'm not saying I agree with this. I'm just trying to say this is probably the counter argument to everything Keith Carter was thinking about. And it's an impossible situation to be in. And that's why, like, I don't blame any of the parties here necessarily. I just keep coming back to the system that's in place that's forced it to be this way. In an ideal world, Lane Kiffin gets to finish out this season and try to win a national championship. And when his season ends, the very next day, we have announced that Lane Kiffin announces, I'm going to LSU, blah, blah, blah. And it ends. And there's probably way less vitriol than what's happened here.
But that's what Lane wanted. He wasn't
that's what he wanted, but
exactly. So what was he supposed to do? To all the people out there that are so mad at Lane, what was he supposed to do? If he wanted to take another better job, which we all would do, how was he supposed to handle this? Part of the problem is the media is nonstop. Where are you going? What are you going to do? Where are you going? Like, everybody has to know. And he was like, I don't want to talk about this till the season's over. Well, and then Keith Carter gave him an ultimatum. You got to tell us now. Are you staying or going? I think he played this horribly. I would have just told the fan base, hey, Lane's going to coach out this year and then make his decision and end all the speculation. But instead, you go to him and you want to ultimate him. Why? Oh, because he's going to take his coaches. He's going to take them anyway. You're going to lose it anyway. So why not manage the situation? And listen, even if you want to say that he's going to be distracted by the LSU, of course, that's going to be part of it. But do you think you have a better chance of winning with a somewhat distracted Lane Kiffin or Pete Golding?
Well, you just don't know how the players are going to react, though. That's the other part.
I know. I disagree. But
you don't know for sure.
The players were all in for Lane to stay. All of them. That's what they've said publicly, and that's what I know privately. They all wanted him to stay. And of course they're going to cheer their new coach. Of course they're going to. They want to play too. They're not going to speak out against the new coach. That would be silly. But yeah, so I don't, and you guys may have a different feeling. And if it's like, well, he should have stayed at Ole Miss and been true to these players, that's just not reality. That's not reality. Yeah, you could, if he wanted to stay at Ole Miss, I get that long term. That's part of it. And frankly, if I were him, that's what I would have done. I don't think the grass is greener. I think you have a better chance of winning a national championship there at LSU, but I think you could still win one at Ole Miss because of, but he probably felt in his decision that there's a better chance, and I think there is a better chance. And I don't know what the recruiting issues are at Ole Miss, but he hasn't had a number one class or a top 5 class. LSU's had plenty of them. So you can recruit better, and that's a huge part of the game. So, all right, we're going to take another break. We'll come back on the other end, and we'll get more into Florida State and Florida, what's going on there, and Alex Golish. And who's next at USF? Is it Anthony Becht? Is it John Gruden? Is it somebody else? We've got a lot of people weighing in today. What's that?
I said I have a name for USF that you haven't even mentioned today.
Yes.
I don't think I've seen anybody in the comments either.
There's a lot of people that are going to be interested in this job. A lot of people are going to be interested. So we will chat about that when we come back. We're brought to you by the great folks at Italiano Insurance, folks. Great time to do your insurance checkup where they check your homeowner's insurance, your auto insurance, life insurance, all your insurance products, and make sure that you are paying the least amount for the best coverage. They do all the work. You save all the money. And don't forget about the great customer service. So if you have any questions about your homeowner's insurance, or any other insurance product that you have, they will help you with that as well. So it's a great company, a great local company that does a lot in the community as well. So let's keep it local. Italiano Insurance. Just had another client the other day call up to get their homeowners insurance and said it was great service. So give them a call over there, 813-877-7799. Back in 3 with more of your comments. It's the holiday season, so come visit the wonderland of jewelry at the Gold and Diamond Source with over 25 times the inventory and selection of the average jewelry store. Guys, get your shopping done early, and if you have no idea of the trends and styles that your lady wants, that's cool. The incredible staff led by Julie and Steve Weintraub and family will offer up some great ideas with no pressure. They offer everything for the first-time jewelry buyer to the most exquisite selection of museum-quality pieces. Enjoy a comfortable, relaxed atmosphere and experienced staff, geologists, jewelers, and designers for all your jewelry needs. From the luxurious jewelry boxes to their VIP customer care, there's many reasons to make sure it's a Gold and Diamond Source diamond. Keep it local this holiday season. Shop online anytime at goldendiamond.com or just come by their showroom at 3800 Overton Road and always online at goldendiamond.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group and my man Scott Jeeves. If you're going to hire an attorney, do you want some guy looking for a quick settlement and a quick buck, or do you want an attorney with some chops? Scott is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator. Been practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. He is a peer-reviewed AV preeminent-rated civil trial lawyer. They just don't hand out those classifications. He's been the lead class action counsel on many complex consumer protection cases and has handled hundreds of serious personal injury cases. He's dedicated his career to protecting injured victims and is committed to vigorously representing you. We're local, we're trusted, and we get results. Personal injury and personal attention. Call for a free case evaluation. That's 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. The Jeeves Law Group. Welcome to Kingmakers, home of the JP Peterson Show studio and Tampa's premier business networking and social club for members only. By day, it's an exclusive, vibrant co-working space with a stylish conference room, focus rooms, a full production studio, and an in-house marketing team. And by night, Kingmakers transforms into a sports-centric social hub with a full sports bar, golf simulator, and exclusive events. For young entrepreneurs and seasoned professionals, it's the perfect place to work hard, play hard, and make big moves in Midtown Tampa. Close the deal, celebrate the win. Only at Kingmakers. Become a member today at kingmakerstampa.com. Your business, your club. Are you looking for an honest AC and plumbing company? I mean, that's like trying to find a humble Saints fan, right? Well, try my friends at Third Generation AC and Plumbing Services. Been in business since 1995 here locally. And listen to what one of their customers said. Quote, the gentleman providing the service was exceptional, on time, knowledgeable, professional, and experienced. He was efficient, cleaned up behind himself, and did the work expeditiously. He not only repaired a sink, he repaired our toilet that was constantly running. We have used this company several times. They are awesome. Says it all, folks. Testimonials really say it all. Call 813-961-8024 for honest, fast service. 813-961-8024 or thirdgenerationplumbing.com. We also do AC.
Ciao, Paolo Tini here, owner of Caffè Paradiso, voted number 3 People's Choice Award on Open Table. I want to thank all our loyal family of customers that have been enjoying our great traditional Italian dishes we make from scratch every day. It's a great family story we're proud of. Our family moved from Rimini, Italy in 1984. My dad, Caesar, started Donatello, and that's where I got the start in the restaurant business. I started Caffè Paradiso on South McDill in 1995, and we've been there ever since. From our traditional ossobuco, a veal slow roast for 4 hours, to our daily fresh catch, the Gruppo Paradiso, with a piccata sauce and lobster claw meat, homemade pasta like lasagna, farfalle salchicha, which is a bow tie pasta homemade with fresh sausage. Hold on a minute, JP's favorite.
I love it.
So come and have a glass of wine with me on South McDill. Get a reservation on Open Table and see all our 5-star reviews. Ciao, see you soon at Paradiso.
Let's go.
Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on here on Victory Monday. Great job, Buccaneers. And you know what you would do if you went to the Golden Diamond Source and got something sweet for your honey on Christmas? You would be in heaven, and so would she. It's so easy, guys. You know you hate shopping, right? You hate it. Like you don't know what to get her. Go to the Golden Diamond Source. Easy parking. Walk right in. Not like the mall. They're right there. The staff says, what are you doing? What do you got? What do you want to do? We'll help you out anyway. Yeah, I got my wife, my girlfriend, whatever. She likes this. She likes that. Oh, let me show you this. Let me show you. This is what's trending. She will love this. They love it. You don't have to do any of that stupid decision-making. Let them do that because they know what she wants. You don't. You have no idea. Great staff over there, great prices, and you know that you're dealing with a reputable company. So if you're going to buy a diamond, an engagement ring, you know what you're getting is what you're getting. Can't say that at other jewelry stores, folks. So many reasons to keep it local and go to the Golden Diamond Source in this holiday season. I'll be over there tomorrow for their Tuesday giving, and they're having a Hands Across the Bay benefit there to raise some money. So we'll go over there. They do great things in the charity world here locally. So keep it local and with this holiday season. Don't buy everything in Amazon. Bad idea. All right. I want to get a little bit into the Florida State situation here. A lot of folks commenting on it and the University of Florida situation. So first of all, the game on Saturday night was, I thought Florida played with a lot more energy, especially early on. A lot of dumb mistakes by Florida State. I cannot stand to watch Tommy Castellanos any longer as the quarterback in Florida State. A nice young man, but too small, can't see over the middle of the field, very inaccurate, slides before he needs to slide. If you're going to be a running quarterback, be a running quarterback. You got, key fourth down situation, stupid Mike Norvell goes for. You're watching the game, Nick, right? It's I think they had 3 stops in a row defensively. They started to figure out what Florida was doing, and they score to make it 17-14. You're back in the ball game. You get to your own 40-yard line, and it's 4th and 2. And you go for it in that situation. And I was like, what are you doing? Plus, you've already been stopped on 4th down, and it wasn't even close. That stupid delay. Why do you run a delayed handoff on 4th and 1? Get your ass to the hole. Yeah, it's just Gus ball. It's that freaking play drives me nuts, and I'm so sorry. Anyway, so you don't have a good short yardage offense. You've been terrible on critical 4th downs for 5 years, and you run this stupid ass high school roll out to the right, cut off half the field. Let Tommy try to get it with his legs, and then he goes out of bounds too early. He should have, if he stops there on and cuts back and moves up the field, he's got the 1st down. It was a terrible decision. It was a terrible execution, but it's so Mike Norvell. He's done this so many times to lose games, and from that the game was over. They score in 3 plays. FSU back on the field, 3 and out. They scored again. It's 31-14, and the game's over. Totally on the coach once again. So as far as Florida State, go ahead.
No, finish up.
Well, I'm going to get into the bigger picture. If you want to talk about the game a little bit, go ahead.
Personally, I can't think of a Florida State game that I was least interested in, maybe ever, than this one. It just sort of is what it was. It sort of is what it is, right? Props to Florida, because the player that I've been preaching all year long, I'm like, please just ride this guy like a bell cow and see what happens. That's Jaden Ball. And I said that was the end for Billy Napier this year, when they were trying to make DJ Lagway a thing and sort of ignoring that the strength of their team was Jaden Ball and their ability to run the football. And
extremely obvious.
Yeah. And he's like the first running back for Florida to get to 1,000 yards in like 10 years. I think he's like the first to do it with like the amount of carries he's had or something. Like I think Emmitt Smith is the only one that did it with the carries he had. Something. Emmitt Smith. We're talking about Emmitt Smith here. Yeah, that's how good. That's the territory that Jaden Ball's in. So missed opportunity for Florida this year that they waited too long, I think, to make Ball.
And FSU had no answer for him and didn't want to tackle him. They played defense
they had no interest, and I had to go and look at it this morning to double check. The Florida offense literally, I don't think, scored 30 points against a team that was breathing all year long. The only team they scored like over 30 against all year was Long Island University, which I still am not sure if that's an actual school and that has a real football team. So that's an indictment on Florida State. But listen, I said all my piece last week on Florida State. I was very angry and I got it out, but I have no more attention to put towards to them. Everything that happened last week with Norvell staying, and now it's the off season and signing days in 2 days, and I'm supposed to get excited about that for what? Never is exciting for Florida State on signing day. So their situation is what it is. But for Florida, you beat your rival in one of your worst seasons ever, and you beat them like a drum, by the way, at that.
Yeah, it's embarrassing.
And now you got a new head coach, and you begin a new era. So, but again, like I mentioned, a lot of Florida fans just not excited about the Summerall hire, and it literally all it comes down to is the fact that, well, he's a Group of 5 coach, and we already Group of 5 coach, and that didn't work. I feel like that's a bit unfair to John.
Nettie, by the way.
I personally feel like it's a little unfair to John Summerall. Let's give him a chance. Let's see what happens.
I agree.
I'm pretty optimistic about him, but yeah.
Well, and again, the coaching calendar, I think, really effed up Florida as well. They thought firing Napier early on would help them in their search, but then they got married to Lane Kiffin, and he dumped them at some point. Although Ryan Smith Marketing wanted to get this in. He said, a great article from CBS this morning that the first meeting between Kiffin and Florida AD Strickland went sour from the get-go. When LSU came to Kiffin, they told him he could basically have it all.
I'm so shocked. Scott Strickland.
He's I don't know the man, but he doesn't invoke a whole lot of.
You don't hear good things.
No,
you certainly don't hear good things, and he's got no good track record when it comes to football.
And I think obviously with Lane's ties to Florida, we all thought that was the landing spot more than LSU. And I don't know what the hell Strickland said, but clearly Lane was not down with it, and LSU was smart enough to know that they had to roll out the red carpet and give him anything he wanted. I don't know what Strickland was saying he wasn't going to get, but maybe it was because they were hiring this general manager, David Caldwell, and maybe Lane didn't like that idea that there would be a general manager that would have more power over him.
I don't know.
If that was the case, bad move.
But like I said, from my perspective, if I wasn't getting Lane Kiffin, in my perspective, John Summerall was the best candidate. That's just me. I know everybody doesn't feel that way. So in a sense, I guess I should give credit to them for landing on John Summerall. And I also believe that they kind of sniped John Summerall away from Auburn. I thought everybody, seemed to think that Auburn and John Summerall was going to be the marriage.
Josh
and that
Pate reported it, I think. Yeah.
I think everybody was expecting it to be John Summerall, and I think at the last second, Florida sort of took it away from them, and then they pivoted to Alex Golesh pretty quickly. And Golesh, I have to assume, I'm speculating, obviously, but I have to assume Golesh, Arkansas wanted Golesh, and, there were some reports that he didn't appreciate that getting out early and blah, blah, blah. And maybe they kind of, he waited a little bit, or his agent told him, hey, hold on here, because it may be looking like Summerall's got momentum to Florida.
Yeah.
If that happens, Auburn's going to be your gig. And if it comes down to Auburn,
a better job.
Arkansas, Auburn and Arkansas is just they're not even the same playing field. So I think that's probably
good for him. There. And good for him, and good luck to him. I don't think that offense is going to play in the SEC, but we'll see. We'll see. And I wish him the best, and USF folks should as well. Here's the deal at FSU. And again, I thought Mike Norvell was gone because I thought they had a good chance to get Lane Kiffin. It didn't happen. Florida didn't get him. A lot of people wanted him. He ends up at LSU. Okay, fine. And I said this last week, and I think there was a lot of stuff this weekend where people were like, oh, wow, this is what's happening. I'm like, yeah, we said this last week. We said it on the show. We talked about it at length. Florida State's plan number one was to replace Mike Norvell. But the consensus was, again, with Peter Collins and the president, that McCullough, that if we can get a home run hire, and I think there was some other candidates that they were looking at, if we can get the home run hire, then we'll spend the money to buy out Mike Norvell. If you're going to fire him and please the fan base, which we all want him gone, and you don't have a great candidate in the wings, we're not going to spend the money. especially in this coaching market where Eli Drinkwitz just got $11 million. Who's the other guy I'm thinking of? That Clark Lee. Clark Lee got $12 million to stay at Vanderbilt. Anybody that was worth the hire, and again, you can go hire your group of 5 guys. If I'm going to make a hire, I want someone who's proven it at the P4 level that they can win. These other guys, they might be good. Sumrall looks good. It's Troy and Tulane. It's a totally different deal. Totally different. And the vast majority of them fail because it's really effing hard. It's really hard to do. There's how many coaches would you say are successful in the SEC? Kirby, Nick, we gonna throw DeBoer in there? I don't know. We'll see. He's got him in the SEC championship. Lane Kiffin has done a nice job. Eli Drinkwitz has done a nice job. Sark's done a nice job. These are the guys that have proven it. And if you're going to make a hire and spend $72 million to get rid of a staff, you better effing know who's coming in, and it better be the right guy. If so, you would just so many of you Florida State was like, Alfred's an idiot, man. Get rid of Norvell. He sucks. Okay, who's next?
Anybody.
What's your plan? Anybody. Oh, really? Okay, anybody. So we're gonna get it. We're gonna go hire Alex Golish and pay and guarantee him $50 million, and we have no idea if he's or Sumrall, and you have no idea if he's going to be any good. He has no track record at this level. I mean, and you're going to spend $72 million to get into the same shit.
But I know what's happening right now with Mike Norvell. I have 6 years to go off of. I know what that looks like.
But you got to replace him. Who are you going to replace him with, Nick?
I'll replace him with anybody. Like, I think that's the point.
How much is that going to cost?
Respectfully, I don't care. I don't care how much
you don't have to pay it. You don't have to pay the money.
I just watched Kentucky fire Mark Stoops last night, and they got to pay him $37 million up front. We're not paying $58 million up front. We're paying his yearly salary until 2031. It's not as bad as what people keep saying. And to me, this is more long term. It's about the long term damage to this program under this head coach and Taggart before him too. The Florida State brand has eroded. It's eroded.
Totally agree.
It is so low right now. It's not even funny. And
it's not about what's happened. We all know what's happened. We all know where it's at. It's about the future. It's about the future. And yes, it is about money
right now. What's the future right now?
All right. Well, this is the plan that we talked about last week. They're going to hire a professional general manager. And listen, I'm not saying this is an ideal plan. If they had unlimited funds, you would fire Mike Norvell and move on. But who are you going to hire? Again, if it was Lane Kiffin, they were more than fine.
I would have fired. I would have fired Mike right after the Stanford game, and I would have gotten James Franklin in the next day. And instead, he went to Virginia Tech, and that might be the best hire of this cycle. To be honest with you,
we'll see.
It was done just like that.
We'll see.
You got a head coach that was a game away from the national championship, and now he's coaching at Virginia Tech. You let that happen.
Listen, I would agree with you, but the powers that be, and not just Alford, by the way, not just Alford, but the powers that be did not want James Franklin for whatever reason. And listen, there are, from what I've heard, there are a lot of, and by the way, did Auburn want James Franklin? No. Did LSU want James Franklin? No. Did Florida want James Franklin? No. There's a reason for that. Reasons. So he ain't the end all be all either. So I just, listen, it's not a great situation in Florida State. I don't want Mike Norvell there either, but I don't think he's going to be there long term. And this is a fix that for the time being, take the money that if you would spend on getting rid of this entire, and then by the way, somebody said, well, you're not saving any money by still paying Norvell. Well, yes, you are. Because if you get rid of Norvell, you're hiring a new staff right now, and you've got to pay them. You're not paying them this year.
But here's the thing too. It's like you're keeping Norvell. It's like, are you keeping the same staff all in place? There's no way you can run back with the same staff.
No, it's not going to be. It's not going to be the same.
You can't do Gus. You mean Tony White? Whatever, he could stay. That's fine. Get him some personnel that fits his scheme a little bit better. But you can't do this Gus nonsense anymore. You just can't.
No,
but who are you attracting to this situation?
That's a good question. But this is the plan. Again, I'm not saying it's ideal. Hire a general manager. This is what Oklahoma did with Venables, and they're on the precipice of getting in the playoff now. But Venables is a good defensive coordinator and can call plays. So that's part of it as well. I don't know if they're going to go back to Mike Norvell calling plays. I don't really want to see that. I would like to see them bring in a different OC, go find a professional OC, go find a professional quarterback. I'm talking about types here. And that would be a huge upgrade right there and would allow to go recruit some receivers as well. And have a general manager to take the personnel decisions away from Norvell because he clearly cannot evaluate quarterbacks and move this more to a professional model, a la what happened at Oklahoma. And I think that's the best you can do right now. It's a shitty situation and again, the buyout was not the fault of Mike Alford. Everybody has to play by these Jimmy Sexton rules. And you're put in a conundrum, much like all these things are because college football's rules, calendar are all fucked up. And it needs to change. It's put Florida State in this position. It's put Florida in their position, having to hire another G5 guy because of the calendar and these ridiculous buyouts. So that to me is the biggest problem. And if you're at FSU, you don't have to like Norvell being around. I don't. I can't stand him as the coach. I can't stand his game management. And if we had unlimited funds, you would fire him. But you better know who you're bringing in and if it's the right guy. And at this point, they don't feel like they could hire the right guy. And they'll have a better shot next year. And we'll see what happens then. But continue building the program and try to get better at recruiting and bringing in talent and spend that money on players instead of
building the program.
It's the best we can do right now.
It's year 7. It's we got to build the program.
No, I'm not talking about Mike Norvell. I'm just trying to do it in spite of Mike Norvell.
Have you looked at the schedule next year? Have you looked at it?
Listen, I'm not expecting much. Trust me. I'm just expecting that we have to.
Where's the line though?
Right now.
Where's the line though? They go 6-6 next year, and everybody's like, "Look at that, everybody! It worked. 6-6. Let's keep running it back. Let's just keep going." Like, where does it end?
Nope. All right, quick break. When we come back, Tre Watson's going to join us. I want to get his perspective as a player that has captained college football teams and probably dealt with coaching changes or possible coaching changes and where college football is right now. He's also played pro football, so we can get that perspective as well. So quick break here. We're brought to you by the great folks at Third Generation Plumbing and American Standard Heating and Cooling. If you have any issues with your HVAC system, they are the folks to go to. They will keep you warm in these cold winters that we have here in Florida and very cool in the summer with the best units, American Standard Heating and Cooling, the most durable, the most efficient, and Third Generation Plumbing will install it flawlessly. And if you have any issues, they're a great place to service your unit as well. ThirdGenerationPlumbing.com. Back in 3 with Tre Watson. Stay with us. Hey, JP here for my concierge medical professional, Chris Lugo, PA. You've heard him on the show for a couple of years where he shares invaluable medical, nutritional, and supplement advice. With Chris, it's like having a medical provider as your best friend. What I love about this concierge service is the convenience and support he offers. I can text or call him 24/7 with any questions or concerns, and he'll promptly call in a prescription if needed. No office visits or copays required. It gives me peace of mind knowing I have someone genuinely invested in my health, not just focused on insurance profits. And the best part, the Bay Area Modern Medical Center's personal concierge service is more affordable than you might think. Don't let insurance companies dictate your health care. Take control of your health and wellness today. Visit BAMMC.com for more information and to schedule your initial free consultation. Empower yourself and take charge of your personal health with BAMMC.com. Experience the art of driving at Genesis of Tampa, where luxury meets innovation and every detail is crafted for you. From the bold G70 to the refined GV80, Genesis delivers power, elegance, and technology years ahead of its time. Book service online, and our Genesis Experience advisors will pick you up and drop off your vehicle. If available, you can enjoy a courtesy car while yours gets a complimentary interior vacuum plus a generous offer for your trade. Every new Genesis comes with the Miracle Advantage Plan, 10 years or 250,000 miles of powertrain warranty and 4 years of complimentary maintenance. Visit us at 801 East Bears Avenue or online at genesisoftampa.com. Genesis of Tampa, luxury redefined. Italiano Insurance would like to congratulate the Bucs on their 50th anniversary season. And you know what? We've been here for every season and then some, over 60 years in business. We've seen some smart coaches with great game plans, but if you don't have flood insurance or business insurance, that's a terrible game plan. That could ruin you financially. You don't want to take that L. So call 813-877-7799 and let their friendly agents quarterback your insurance and save you big money. Italiano also sponsors our FSU report every week, so go Noles. 813-877-7799 or go to italianoinsurance.com. Although it may seem tempting to go without health care insurance, the financial risk far outweighs the gain you may experience. For example, did you know if you simply broke your leg, it could cost you nearly $7,500? Put on top of that a hospital stay, you could be looking at $10,000 to $15,000. Ensuring that you don't go uncovered is so important, as according to CNBC, high medical bills are the highest contributing factor to why Americans end up taking money out of their retirement savings or worse, find themselves filing bankruptcy. So go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. Now, depending on your income, you can get plans for zero premium. Our experts will guide you through the process effortlessly. They will shop many plans and find the one that's right for you. I called and I have full health coverage through Florida Blue for zero monthly premium. It's a free call. So why go uncovered? It's a huge risk. Go to don'tgouncovered.com or call 800-669-1505. That's 800-669-1505. Are you looking for an honest AC and plumbing company? I mean, that's like trying to find a humble Saints fan, right? Well, try my friends at Third Generation AC and Plumbing Services. Been in business since 1995 here locally. And listen to what one of their customers said. Quote, the gentleman providing the service was exceptional, on time, knowledgeable, professional, and experienced. He was efficient, cleaned up behind himself, and did the work expeditiously. He not only repaired a sink, he repaired our toilet that was constantly running. We have used this company several times. They are awesome. Says it all, folks. Testimonials really say it all. Call 813-961-8024 for honest, fast service. 813-961-8024 or thirdgenerationplumbing.com. We also do AC.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the great folks at Genesis of Tampa and KingmakersTampa.com. We're coming to you live from this Kingmaker studio here. Beautiful place that we have right here in Midtown Tampa. If you're looking for some shared office space, private office space, they have it right here. Very unique spot, KingmakersTampa.com. Go to the website, find out all about it, become a member. Really cool place to hang out. We'll play some golf in the golf simulator. Come on over, Nick. Bring the clubs. All right, I want to welcome in Tre Watson, who was an All-American and All Big Ten linebacker at Maryland and Illinois. Two-time team captain. You've seen him on ESPN and on the Big Ten Network. He joins us now. The brother of Christian Watson, who had a pretty damn good Thanksgiving day. 4 catches, 80 yards, and a tutty. Good Thanksgiving for the Watson household, for the fam?
It was, yeah. Great day all around. Great food. Enjoy beating up on the Lions again, getting the season sweep there. And, hey, Green Bay's headed in the right direction. So love to see that.
All right. We may see him in the playoffs, and then, we'll have some stuff to talk about for sure. So, listen, I want to get your first thoughts on all the craziness that's going on in college football and zero in on – and I don't know if you've been in this situation when you were in college, if you had coaching changes, But take us inside what the players are feeling in the situation like this, and where they're getting ready to go to the college football playoff, and their coach is basically forced to leave. What are your thoughts?
It's an impossibly tough situation. There really is no winner in the interim in all of these situations right now because of the schedule, which we kind of hit on last week. The playoff format, it makes it impossible for this to go over well. Either you wait and you try to secure yourself an opportunity at a championship while you have it on the table, and then now your head coaching situation isn't resolved until the end of January. Like no one at this level can sit around and do that. There's too much money at stake. There's limited options. You see half the dang SEC is looking for a head coach right now, or has secured one in the last 24 hours. What time do you have to waste? So it's hard. As a player, you just want to know, what are we doing right now? Like Ole Miss, they wanted to know, what are we doing right now? We have the playoffs sitting right here in our lap. We're not in the SEC championship game, so they know exactly what their situation from a football side is. But now, who's going to be leading them? How is that going to work? Who's going to be leaving them as well? There's just no easy way to do it. You lose your head coach, you lose your offensive coordinator, as is being reported, and you're talking about, this is an offensive football team. Their defensive program has come a long way, particularly this season, but you're talking about going into the playoffs, about to face some of the best teams, in the country, and what the heck are they going to be looking at doing on offense? An offense that has had a great quarterback, come in, and incredible story for him. Running back, one of the best in the country, up for the Doak Walker Award. Like, how do we go about that? Who's calling plays? What plays are we calling? How familiar are they with even what we do at a high level? That's just a hard situation. It really is hard to fathom, that working out well.
Would you have wanted the coach to stay?
I would have, personally, just because, like, we did all start this together. I get it. Right. He's got a double recruit. Well, not double recruit, but he's got to, work for us at Ole Miss and recruit for LSU at the same time, because early signing day is in a couple days. But, like, if I'm an Ole Miss player, and I don't see this actually happening, but because of what happened a couple of years ago, it's on the table. What if they do them like they did Florida State a couple of years ago, right, where they went undefeated and the quarterback gets hurt, and they just ignore the resume and they say, oh, well, you can't win because of your situation, which it had an argument. But that doesn't change what the other, 100 some odd players and coaching staff did. What if they look at Ole Miss and say, well, your head coach, who is the play caller, is gone. Your offensive coordinator, who probably is the only other person really capable of calling the plays right now, is gone. How are you going to win? How are you going to win at a high level?
Fair to the players.
How are you going to game plan? Yeah, and like, there's no saying that the committee, because they have their own element and they can be as, objective and subjective as they want to be, who knows what they're going to do with that information. So yeah, the safest way to kind of protect from all that would be like, hey, just let him finish it out, work out how this is going to work between, hey, if he's got to spend 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. in, Oxford, and then he's got to go fly his plane every day and go recruit for LSU in the evenings, I really don't care. As long as
I don't care.
Right. Yeah. That's his money. That's that university.
The players don't care, right? The players don't care about him going to LSU. They just care about right now and winning now.
This is their moment.
Yeah. So if I were a player, I'd be pissed at the AD. I said, why didn't you let him stay? Why didn't you just let him coach? I mean, listen, he's leaving anyway. So why don't we just take our best shot and win a national championship here? And I think it would probably, don't you think that would motivate the team to go out?
Absolutely. They've never been in this position before, right? I mean, Ole Miss is a strong program, and they've been in the SEC, and, they have a great fan base, but they've never been in this kind of position before at this point in the football season. So you are risking everything that you've worked all these years to build with Lane and before him for limited gain. Yes, they appointed the defensive coordinator, who is the sitting coordinator, as the head coach, and that works great for next year and beyond because you have continuity. But right now, they're still scrambling. It doesn't do anything for this short-term period. He can't go get a high-level offensive coordinator to come in and help him in this situation. He has to go in that offense, of the few offensive guys who are left, which Lane is probably still going to be poaching at, over the next couple days.
Right.
And he's got to say, okay, well, which one of y'all can call plays? Which one of y'all do I think knows the offense well enough to be able to do it for us? That's an impossible task for him too.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't bode well for anybody, and it puts them in a position to be a super talented team, best season in school history, and they go one and done in the playoffs.
Yeah. And you also have players right now that are looking to transfer and may miss bowl games and leave their teams because their other teams are saying, listen, we don't want you playing in a bowl game. We're going to pay you $2 million, $3 million. You can't risk injury. How shitty is that? I mean, it's great to get the money.
Yeah, yeah. It like I said, it's just, again, right, it puts these players and the staff in another situation. It's a conundrum. Who wins at the end of the day? If they take the money and they go to their new school and they abandon everyone else, they've abandoned all their friends, all their relationships, everything that they've worked towards to put themselves in a position to earn the money they want to earn, which is great. And you have to say, okay, well, what's best for me in the long term? But those are still memories that are missed. Those are once in a lifetime opportunities. These bowl games, I don't care if you're 6-6 or you're 10-2. A bowl game is a special thing. There's only one Outback Bowl or ReliaQuest Bowl, whatever it's called now. There's only one holiday bowl per year. No matter how many fans go, no matter how many people tune into the broadcast, it's a once in a lifetime experience. You go somewhere you've probably never been before. Mm-hmm. You're with only your team for 6-7 days. It's a special moment, and you only get an opportunity to earn 4 or 5 of those in college. 6 or 7 for these COVID guys, but those guys are on their way out. So everyone is losing, man. I can't stress that part enough. There's no good way to work this situation.
Tre Watson joining us here, also a Jesuit high school football coach. Didn't go well on Friday night, did it? What happened? What happened?
Look, we can get into the details at another time, but unfortunately, we had one of the worst late game collapses that I've ever witnessed in football, period. And shout out to Port Charlotte for playing through the end of the game. Kudos to them for that, but I won't get over that one in any short amount of time. And I feel for our players, man. They worked hard. They put themselves in a great position, up 21-7, I think, with 3 minutes and 36 seconds left. And just, like I said, it's just a collapse, man. I truly do feel bad for our kids for what happened on Friday. It shouldn't have happened in any way. We had an extremely talented group, a group capable of going all the way. And that's what I told our guys as soon as the game ended. Yeah, it's, you unfortunately, some things become out of your control, as a player, and, me as a coach, I wanted to let them know that they did what they were asked to do. And some things that were out of their hands for the most part happened, and it's horrible. But you got to live and learn to some degree.
This game is so, and we talk about how emotional this game is and what it means to people. And that's why, when you're losing your head coaches in situations like this, I feel for the players. And I'm just tired of the BS around college football, because it seems like we're always talking about the calendar and all these other things and money, and we never talk about the games. Like, we never talk about the games. And maybe that's problem, my fault on the media, but it just seems like we're always talking about this because it's not fixed, and it needs to be fixed. And it needs to happen soon. So if you're a player at USF and Golish leaves, there's a lot of chatter right now that John Gruden could be your next coach. Anthony Beck could be your next coach. Nick had a name. What was the name you wanted to throw out there, Nick?
Yeah, I was going to say Dan Mullen, because I've been sort of like gauging like the USF fan base, and of course this is like on Twitter, obviously, so take that for what it's worth. But they seem to they want someone who probably has a chance of staying more in the long term than someone like Golish, where you build this up and after 3 years takes a bigger job. And that's obviously going to be it's always going to be an issue at an American school. And you just look like the big three in the American now are all open. Tulane, USF, and Memphis. All their coaches just got poached in one cycle. So it's tough. But Dan Mullen, he's already been at the high level, Mississippi State, Florida. At this point in his career, does he want to go back to that level? I'm not convinced. And he's at UNLV right now, and he just went 10-2, and they're going to be playing in their conference championship game. He knows the state really well. Clearly, he's always going to have a high-powered offense, and for the most part, he wins just about everywhere he goes. And I think he's like 53 years old, so he's not like in like his 60s or anything like that, where you don't have much, term to go with him. So I think Dan Mullen would be a really good fit at USF.
What do you think, Trey?
I mean, I don't think it's a bad option. I think I hadn't thought about it because he is now on the West Coast and doing well at UNLV. But I could see the fit. I could see obviously the familiarity with recruiting this area, having been at Florida. I don't know if John Gruden truly would take a job of that level. I think,
I think he wants it. I've been told he wants it.
We'll see. Look, like, I wouldn't be opposed to him doing it because obviously the presence is massive. His ability to recruit just off of name power alone would be huge. This is his home, right? Like, he's always found his way back to Tampa. So in that essence, it would work great. I do, Coach Becht is my former coach, having played with him in St. Louis in the XFL. And I know he has a passion for coaching, right? He really does enjoy it. And I think a head job at the college level is something that he really does want to get at some point. So I think if they're interested in him, which, with the Derek Brooks connection and all the local guys, it's kind of like a triangle there, right? Like, Derek's career would have overlapped with Anthony's. They both played for Gruden, I believe. I'm pretty sure Coach Beck played for him. So, like, all of those guys in some way, shape, or form should be connected, and I wouldn't be surprised if both of them interview. I think just in terms of, if I just threw out a name, who would be the best for USF, it'd be either one of those guys. The connection is great. I think Coach Becht would have a better relatability for the young kids, having his son is just now about to leave college football, so he's well connected in the youth football world around here. Obviously he's younger than Coach Gruden, so that helps as well. But USF isn't in a bad position in general. There really shouldn't be a bad hire for them out of these kind of options that we discussed. They've got the stadium coming. That's going to be a huge bonus for them. They've built a ton of momentum on the recruiting trail, so all they need is a guy to come in and at the very least keep the status quo. If you improve from there, then you're talking about bringing in even more high-level players. They're in a good position regardless, though. I wouldn't be opposed to any of those three names if I'm a USF fan.
I was going to say, too, like, even he's a little bit different than, like, going the Mullen route or the Gruden or the Becht route, but, like, Willie Simmons, I think, is going to be pretty hot on this.
Yeah.
Because a lot of success at FAMU, just got FIU in their first year with him, just got to a bowl game for the first time in 7 years, I believe. And I think he was born in Tallahassee, so he's a Florida guy. I think he's going to have a lot of steam to it, too. But he's another one, like, if you get it rolling here at USF, does he just go and take another job? I mean, that's just like the likely scenario. So I'm interested how that plays a role in it.
Yeah, I think that's interesting because I do see USF fans. We need to hire somebody who's older, that's not, interested in climbing the ladder and just wants to make a home here and build something here. And I think Anthony and Gruden would both kind of fit into that. Although, Anthony, I think, is younger. If he did a great job at USF, would he leave? I don't know. I don't know if Gruden would. But, if he had two great seasons at USF, which I think either one of those guys could win a conference championship. I really do. I have a lot of confidence in Anthony. And Trey, you could talk to this because he's coached in the UFL and has an XFL and had great success. And I was saying, that's kind of like the model of what college football is right now. It's a hybrid between college and pro. Right? Mm-hmm. Which is exactly what the XFL is. You have to go out and recruit every year, bring a whole team together in 6 weeks, teach them the plays, and then go out and coach successfully in the game. That's not easy to do, but it kind of sounds like what college football is these days.
In a way. So certainly, like in the UFL XFL model, you have limited resources, one, because not all the assistants and even I think some of the head coaches weren't full-time staff year-round, right? So you're not able to just focus on football all the time. You literally have to go do other things, and the players are having off-season jobs trying to figure out, navigate what league I'm going to go play in. So it fluctuates a lot. So in that aspect, comes into USF, he'd be prepared for what the portal looks like, all the movement. He'd be prepared for, continuously recruiting, not even just to bring guys in, but then to retain them after you have a good year and they want to jump, power 4, power 5 level and all that kind of thing. So I really do think he'd be an awesome fit for this school. Knowing the landscape, like I said, being familiar with kids. And I don't think he'd be the type of guy that would immediately be looking to jump. Sure, right? Like with the Lane Kiffin situation.
Yeah.
If anyone can get the raise of a lifetime, it wouldn't make a whole lot of sense to say no. But he is a guy, again, this has been his home for a very long time, played here in the early 2000s, has been here ever since. He would be a guy that's committed to this area, committed to the school. And I'd love to see him get the position. I know he'd be extremely excited about it. Saw the way he led grown men, right, looking to pursue, their professional career and get those things back on track. I think it's even easier in a sense to mold, 17, 18 to 21, 22-year-old people who are looking for more guidance. He'd have more resources to bring in the right staff, get the right people in place to help these kids out and really give them something for the future. I think, the USF, the school would benefit from him, a guy like him being there. The community would benefit as well, having a familiar face. It'd be a win on all ends.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think Anthony would be a great fit. And Gruden would bring a tremendous splash. I don't know how good he would be with young kids. I don't know if he has the patience for it, quite frankly. Agreed. But he would bring the money. He would bring splash. He would bring energy. And if you're Rob Higgins looking to do a splash hire, I don't think you can get any bigger. And obviously Rob knows Gruden very well, and Derek Brooks knows him very well. So it's going to be very interesting. But it's college football coaching is a shiz ton of work. Not that Gruden's adverse to that, but it's much different than professional football, right? I mean,
absolutely.
Yeah. So we'll see. All right, Tre, great stuff, man. Appreciate you. Happy Thanksgiving weekend and all that. Hope you had a great one with your family. I'm sure you did. And, tell Christian to be great, but not against the Bucs in the playoffs if that happens. All right,
we'll
partner.
See how
Thanks.
it works out. Yes, sir.
Appreciate
have a good
you.
One.
God, there's so many. God, we could go on for hours and hours, Nick, on especially this college football stuff. But and we got a lot of comments coming in. I wish I could get to all of them. What do we got here? I
was gonna ask though, real quick, and I guess I'm not really sure about it, and I'm not sure if you know exactly either. But does Rocco have any more eligibility after this year, or is he done?
No, he's got one more year. He could go pro. Yeah. And that's an interesting part of it is I know he's settled in at Iowa State and loves his coach and loves that whole situation there.
I know that would be tough. Even if Anthony was the head coach, I'm like, is that even a possibility? Like, cause in a way it's a step down and you've already been at Iowa State all these years and know everything. I don't know, but
there's some insight from someone who knows what's going on. TJC22 said Franklin was not going to FSU. He turned down more money at Arkansas because he has family and things that Virginia Tech was better suited to handle. That sounds right. What else? I got to get James in here today. What is wrong with you, JP? Knowles administration can hire an up-and-coming OC or DC and set the market. You are nuts today. Nick is right. Anyone. Hire Stoops from Kentucky. Promote Tony effing White. What is wrong with you?
I was with him until I saw Mark Stoops' name get mentioned there, and even Tony White being promoted to head coach. Respectfully, no. But
yeah.
I told you, like, you could have taken my Franklin thing and put it aside if you're not on the Franklin train, and I get it. He's somebody what you're usually all in on and you're all out on.
Yeah.
But I mean, I mentioned it before. I like Schumann from Georgia. I like Will Stein from Oregon, who's going to be a big person of interest in Kentucky's search.
Yeah.
Hartline. I mean, there's some great coordinators that were out there. And the beauty of the coordinator route is none of these guys are getting hired. Mm-hmm. They're all available.
Yeah.
But
and that could be the next one.
I was going to say the counter to that is maybe if everything holds now and they don't get these other jobs, then they'll all be available next year too. So
yeah. No, I do not want Gus back at all. I want to move on from that. TJC22 said Venable hired a game manager to help with things he struggled with, former longtime head coach Kevin Wilson. Yeah, I mean, there can be changes and you can be a better head coach. Listen, I have less than any confidence in Mike Norvell, but I understand what the situation is. And listen, if I had my druthers and we had unlimited resources, I would fire Mike Norvell. Absolutely, 100%. But that's not the situation. And this is what I don't understand that you guys don't understand. There are parameters here. It's not like you can just, I know it's not going to be 72 million total with all the offsets and all that. I get it. And you can, but I don't know where the books are at specifically right now, but Michael Alford does, and the Board of Regents does. And there are other things to consider.
I mean, do you think it was possible, though, that they could have negotiated his buyout down?
I do, yeah. I mean, if James
Franklin did that with Penn State. It sounds like, I said earlier that Kentucky was going to owe Stoops the money, but it sounds like Stoops is like foregone that to help them out. So I don't know, but
listen, I'm with all of you as far as it's hard to stomach another season with Mike Norvell. It is ridiculously hard to stomach that. But there are financial, and listen, Florida State is not the Lone Ranger here. The other teams are going to run into, and the programs are going to run into the same situation with these ridiculous buyouts. And, Texas A&M ate theirs. Penn State figured out a way to lower theirs. And I think that's good. But who have they hired? They haven't even hired anybody, right?
That's the crazy thing. Penn State was the first major team to hire, or a program to fire their head coach. They did that on October 12th. And for whatever reason, the entire way after Matt Rule took his name out of the running, it has felt so like quiet, or like
where they go
really, or you can't figure out like what names they're even looking at. I don't know what's going on with Penn State, but it's a little surprising. But this is the thing. Like, we remember, me and you were not fans of them firing James Franklin.
Yeah.
And we were like, if you're firing James Franklin, you better have a really good plan.
Yeah.
Either they didn't have a plan, or every plan they've had is blown up in their face. And now they're just sitting here and they're like, where do we go?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And listen, I get it. You're mad at Alford, you're mad at me, and you're mad at this is the financial reality that you're in. And I don't understand why you guys don't understand that. If you don't have the money to do it, you can't do it. So why are we in this mess? Well, they wanted to spend money on the stadium to bring in more revenue, which they did, and they did a great job with it. Now, will all the boosters pull their money because of the Norvell thing? Yeah, probably. But bottom line is, everybody showed up this year. They kept coming to the games and they kept paying the money. And you hope that continues. But if you can't afford to fire a coach because you don't know who the next guy is, or if it's worth it, I understand that as well. And you just do the best you can to make your program move forward. It's not an ideal situation, but and I'm not laying down for Alford. I just understand that he's got bosses too, and they feel like that the expenditure of the buyout is, and again, the buyout is not Alford's fault. It's what the system demands. And when you're stuck with a shitty situation, you got to do the best you can to move the program forward. And without having a star hire, this is what they've decided to do. I'm not saying it's optimal. I'm not saying I want Mike Norvell around, but it's part of the deal. And it's a crappy situation, just like a crappy situation at Ole Miss. It's no win for a lot of people. What else we got here? This is from Marty Debor. Great insight from Tre on Beck. Beck would be a good hire if Brown moves on. Would open the door for Rocco if Brown moves on. Oh, Byron Brown. Yeah, it might.
I don't know about Byron. See, everybody thinks Byron Brown is just going to bolt to Auburn with Golish, and it may very well happen. I know he's mentioned a lot about the loyalty he has to Alex Golish. and Auburn doesn't exactly have a great quarterback situation, but what they do have is they have Deuce Knight, who was, top quarterback recruit in last year's cycle, and they played him for one game against Mercer a couple weeks ago. And if you're Alex Golish, that has to be priority number one, is keeping him around because of his upside, and then keeping Cam Coleman around, the talented receiver as well, who was a 5-star the year prior. So that's interesting. That's for Auburn to figure out, but obviously that impacts USF because you just don't know. You really have no idea where Byron Brown's thinking, and he might obviously wait to see what happens clearly with the head coaching search first. And how quickly can they get this decided? Is this something that we're going to have some clarity on at the end of the week? I have to think it's going to go quickly because you kind of have to at this point.
Michael LaRue said, FSU better get the best GM, OC, and quarterback money can buy this offseason. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but to all of you, well, mostly James, if Florida State gets a new dynamic OC who brings a good quarterback with him, or goes and gets a good pro-style quarterback, and Mike Norvell is still there, and we bring in a good portal class, recruiting class, I think is 13th right now, and they build on that. Is that not some positivity? I mean, get the quarterback right, which you haven't done since Jordan Travis. Get the quarterback right. That changes a lot. And I don't know who that guy is, but they're out there. They're going to be out there. Go find them. So, I mean, it's possible. Again, not ideal, but possible. Yeah.
You want to know the one scenario that would get me excited? I shouldn't say excited because I don't know what actually would get me excited, but would be passable. Is Norvell go, and I don't even know if they're going to let him do this, honestly, because it looks like they're stripping all of his duties away. But I would go back to Norvell's offense, personally.
Yeah. It's better than Gus's.
Yeah. I'd go back to Norvell's offense, and I would try to get everything. I would put every resource into getting Sam Leavitt to come to Florida State, because Sam Leavitt played at Arizona State under Kenny Dillingham and had a lot of success. And Dillingham and Norvell, what do they run? The same system, basically?
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of familiarity there.
Yeah.
That's an option. Like that's something that I would, that's something where I would be like, okay.
That would change everything. Everybody would be excited again, I would think. So we'll see. Cody Green says, if USF gets Gruden and he becomes successful, I don't think he would leave us for a bigger job. He lives here, and I believe he wouldn't do us wrong. I mean, he's 62, 63 years old.
No, I think he would stay here.
I think he would stay. Yeah. Yeah.
I just don't know how I feel. I don't know where I land on Gruden. I don't. I really don't. I've said before, like, it'd be fun to see him coach, like from an outside perspective, it'd be fun to see him coaching again, because there's always a lot that goes with that makes it kind of fun. I just don't know. This is such a big hire for USF. And it's like, it's the same thing how I feel about Anthony. It's like going the route of someone who's never done it before just seems like a scary thing to do at this point, where this is like a very important time for USF, where you have to nail this hire, potential realignment, getting yourself in a Power 4 conference. There's a lot at play here, but it does feel like Rob Higgins and Derek Brooks and everybody involved, they want to take a big swing here. And they have something that a lot of Power P6 programs can't provide, and that is full spending of the revenue budget. No other Power 6 program is going to be doing that but USF. So that's a big pitch that you can give to coaches.
Yeah, I think this looks like a great opportunity for someone to come in here and be successful. I mean, the roster is good. I don't know how many players leave, but you still can bring in more in the portal. But whoever they hired, they got to hire somebody quick. And that's another thing. They know John. They know Anthony Becht. I'm sure they've vetted both of them already. And that's another thing. And this is, I'm just giving you the information. When Golish was hired, they vetted John Gruden, and it came back as a no. But that was a different president, a different board of regents, a different makeup, certainly a different athletic director. So totally different deal. And that was all based, I'm sure, on the NFL investigation, the emails and all that stuff. So wherever, whatever. So it is what it is. And are they comfortable? I don't think anybody in the USF fan base would give a rat's ass about all that stuff. And frankly shouldn't. Is what it is. And he's a huge name, and he'll bring a big splash. I think Anthony, frankly, would be a better fit from a collegiate college situation, but I get both of them. And I think Anthony would not be necessarily looking for a next job either. So we'll see. But I think either one of them would be a great hire. And I think Dan Mullen would be a great hire as well. He's proven he can win. But would he be looking to move on and get back into the SEC? I think the answer to that is probably yes. So, but I don't think you can hire a coach based on what he might do or where he might go. But I don't know. But that's always going to be something that the USF is concerned about. I think it's a question that's definitely worth that. But you never know what comes down the pike. And we may say Gruden is going to stay, but if a big program, if he wins 10, 11 games at USF and an SEC program comes knocking or Florida State comes knocking, would he leave? I don't know. All right. That'll do it for today's Monday. Thank you guys for jumping in. Appreciate all of your comments and questions, even the nasty ones. It's all good. That's why we're here. Nick, great job as well. Thanks to Tre Watson for joining us. Don't forget, if you missed anything, you can always watch or listen. Don't forget about the FanStream Sports website. We've got all the local stories up there as well, where you can watch the show anytime. You can log on to that as well, and all our social media. Appreciate you guys. We will be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity. See you then.